Welcome back to the Midday Show. I'm Brandon Parnes, and with me on the phone, the voice of Porky Pig. He's been doing it for 25 years. Please welcome Bob Bergen.
Hey, Brandon, what's going on?
Bob, it's a pleasure to have you here. We did this very quickly, but we are here now. So you've been doing Porky for 25 years. Has there been a standout moment of either recording or seeing a reaction to you doing Porky Pig?
I would say two standout moments. The first would probably be the day that I got the job, or at least the first time they called to say that they wanted to hire me for Porky Pig, which was really cool because I was actually at a job and my mom was house sitting for me because I just bought my first house and I had a couch being delivered, and she was the one that took the phone call from my agent to say that I had booked my first recording session, which was Tiny Toon Adventures. So that's definitely a standout. And then you and I talked about this thing I did this weekend at the Hollywood Bowl for Bugs Bunny at the Symphony. That was pretty cool, too. So those are my two standout moments, 25 years apart from each other.
That is just amazing. And what has been maybe your favorite thing of Porky's that you've done? Like your favorite maybe episode of Tiny Toons, or your favorite short, or what has that been for you?
Oh, my goodness. That's a great question that nobody's ever asked me. So, yay, Brandon.
Oh, yay.
Okay, let's see. Well, I can tell you that I've got favorite That's All Folkses
Yeah.
that I've done. One of my favorite That's All Folks was for Seth Green on Robot Chicken, where Porky actually said "That's all bitches," which was kind of fun. But that's on Adult Swim, so kids should not be watching that.
No.
My other favorite That's All Folks was at the end of Looney Tunes Back in Action, where Porky couldn't get the words out and they were breaking the set and cutting them off. That was fun.
Yeah.
We did an episode of the Looney Tunes show where Porky's favorite food is pepperoni pizza, and he finally realizes that his favorite food is pork products, and that was kind of fun. And we're doing a new show right now called Wabbit, which will be debuting, I think, in the fall on Boomerang, and it's some of the best Looney Tunes writing that we've ever done. So I'm looking forward. I haven't seen any of it yet, but I know that the scripts have been terrific. So that's plenty of good Porky stuff.
And you said Boomerang in the fall for Wabbit?
For Wabbit, yeah. I'm not sure exactly when. I keep hearing everything from September to October, but sometime this fall on Boomerang, yeah.
Boomerang, and they've just done a whole new rebrand for Boomerang.
Exactly, and this is part of it, yeah.
Awesome. And it's Wabbit, W-A-B-B-I-T, I'm guessing?
Yeah, like you ooh, you screwy Wabbit, like Elmer Fudd might say.
Awesome.
And for fans of the Looney Tunes, it's an homage to the 1940s Bob Clampett, more of a wacky, zany sort of a Bugs Bunny rather than the sitcom sort of buddy cartoon that the Looney Tunes show was. It's really good stuff, and Matt Craig is our writer-producer. He just really knows these characters. It's very difficult to take these characters and put them in contemporary situations when you've got fans who are used to them from the 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
So they've done a really good job with this.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out now that you told me about it, because Tiny Toons, I remember, was so... It kind of has a special place in my heart, even though I'll be honest, I didn't watch it a ton. But when I was a kid, we had a Tiny Toons, like either a lunchbox or something that was in my basements, in the basements of our house, the closet of it, like the little toy closet. And I just remember that it's been ingrained in my brain. And then for a few years there, because I'm Jewish and we do the high holidays, so I would get to miss school that day. For like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and I would come home and I would watch Tiny Toons on Nickelodeon right after services on my day off from school.
That's too funny. Well, I will tell you that I as well am Jewish, and for years, to this day actually, starting when I was a little kid, I always did the 4 questions like Porky Pig.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
It's not Hebrew, but it's still like Porky Pig. So there was we did not have the most kosher of Passovers.
Yeah, I always try to do the 4 questions in English. I always try to persuade my family members letting me do it as Andy Rooney.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. But yeah, over the years, we've always had a lot of voiceover actors come to our Passover. So over the years, we've had Goofy from Disney and just a variety of characters. It's fun. It's not. Yeah. My mom doesn't like to invite very religious people because it's not a religious sort of thing, but it's fun.
Yeah, but that's genius. That is really genius. So when you're doing Porky, I remember you talked about this on I Know That Voice, which is a great documentary. You have to check it out. For all the listeners at home, you basically just showed your job security, and if you don't mind demonstrating that, I'd love to hear it.
What, the how to do the Porky thing?
Yeah.
Sure. With you?
No, just tell the listeners at home.
Oh, well, to do Porky's voice, there's a formula. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
from
the
I Know
formula.
That Voice thing? Yeah. So every word is the same formula. So if you're going to say the word boy, it's 4 sounds and then the word. So it's boy.
Boy.
There you go. And the third time you push a little bit more, so it's boy.
Boy.
Close. You kind of mess it up a little bit.
I did.
Kind of not with your fingers. It's easier. Boy.
Boy.
Ebba.
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 Close. Ebba.
Ebba.
Good. Ebba boy.
Ebba boy.
Yeah, you messed up a little bit again, but that's okay.
That's okay.
It keeps me employed.
Exactly. That's why you have job security.
There we go.
Yes, and there's the punchline, everybody. So, from besides Porky, which of course probably I'm not gonna assume, but I'm guessing, which is basically assuming, probably your favorite character. Is there like a second or third favorite that you have?
Yeah, but they're obscure. I mean, I've done some jobs that might have just been, a one-time commercial that didn't air in very many markets that was just a fun character. I just did a campaign for a company called Solar City where I played a creature. I mean, like a half bird, half man thing. That was just a blast because I'm creating from new.
Yeah.
As far as animated films, I enjoyed Lupin the Third from Castle of Cagliostro, which was an anime. The anime fans are very different from the Looney Tunes fans. No Face and Spirited Away. Bucky the Squirrel and the Emperor's New Groove. I mean, just Luke Skywalker for the Star Wars games. There's just a handful of little things I've done over the years that were fun. I mean, back in the 80s, I did the cartoon version of Fraggle Rock for Henson, and that was just a really, really cool project. So just to, have worked for the Henson Company while he was still around with some amazing producers and writers. So I've been very blessed to have a very varied career.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the first time I saw you, or I saw your name at least, was not from doing Porky Pig, wasn't doing from animation. It was another dabble in your entertainment career, hosting Jep, because...
Oh, yeah, wow, okay. Well, that's funny, because when I was hosting Jep, which was a kid's version of Jeopardy, it was on Game Show Network, and my cable company didn't even carry it, so I never even saw the show while I was doing it. So, yeah, that's a whole different end of my career.
Yeah, and I only found out years later because I go into phases a lot, so I'll do a bunch of research on Google, and I did not get to see Jep first run, and then it would be a long time, probably only until maybe 4 or 5 years ago until I actually saw an episode, but I found out there was a kid's version of Jeopardy, and it blew my mind. And this guy, Bob Bergen, hosted, and then, he's a voice actor. He does Porky Pig. So it was crazy to see. And you told a great story on Talking to Drop Olson's podcast, which listeners you also have to check out, about how you got the job.
Well, I mean, I auditioned for it and had a callback and then they do a screen test. So for the screen test, we actually just ran an episode. We did an episode of Jeopardy on the Jeopardy set. And there were 3 kids who were the contestants, and I was very fortunate that one of the categories in the screen test was famous cartoon characters. And for each clue, I did the voice. That kind of helped. I know for a fact they didn't really know I did voices. They didn't plan this because they were testing 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah.
So I think we were all doing the exact same show, the exact same screen test, and they had the same puzzles. So the fact that I had, he lives in Jellystone Park, and he's smarter than the average bear. It kind of gave me a leg up. Yeah. So that was very, very helpful.
Yeah, and you got the job, so...
I did indeed. I got the job, and it was a fun job, probably the most challenging job I've ever had as a performer because a really good game show host can't be the star of the show. The game and the contestants have to be the star of the show, but you have to run the whole thing, and it's not easy. So for for Drew Carey and Alex Trebek and everybody else who's ever done this, my God, you guys are good.
Yeah, and definitely. So we are gonna take a break. I know when we're recording this, it's early in the morning, especially on your side since you're on the West Coast. If you could, as Porky Pig, could you do me the hugest honor of throwing us to break, just saying, we'll be right back here on the Brandon Parnes Hour Fun as Porky Pig. Do you mind?
Well, hang on one second. I got to write that down because I can't remember anything.
Okay.
So exactly.
We can't actually do the real song for copyright
reasons. We'll be right back. Say it again.
Here on the Midday Show with Brandon Parnes.
We'll be right back on the Midday Show with the Brandon Parnes folks.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Midday Show. I have Bob Bergen, a.k.a. the voice of Porky Pig, and many of your favorite cartoon characters here on the show with me today. How are you doing again, Bob?
Well, I'm fine. I'm just having some coffee.
Well, that is wonderful. So right now we're going to move to a segment called The Fun Down. The Fun Down is 7 questions particularly tailored to the best of my ability for you.
Okay.
And we're going to start right now. Favorite Porky line of all time. Not That's All, folks, because that would be too easy.
Okay, I've actually got one.
Okay, go ahead.
It's from the cartoon Duck Dodgers, and Porky said,
Can I put my clothes back on? My nipples are getting cold.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That is amazing. Has there ever been a Porky line like that could not be on the air, that could not get on the air? No explicitives, of course.
Well, absolutely, because in a studio, when you make a mistake, you tend to say something that you shouldn't say, and every once in a while I'll get stuck in a line that I can't get out, and I'll start swearing like Porky Pig, and it doesn't make the air, and you hope that somebody doesn't make a mistake and put it on the air, but those are the moments.
Those are the moments.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time where for some reason you cannot get out of a voice, like you just kept doing the voice, kind of like what you said about swearing as Porky Pig, but for some reason you couldn't get those vocal cords to go back to your own voice?
That's never happened to me, but there are times when, the actor side of doing Porky, while I'm stuttering on a word, my mind is thinking of an ad lib.
Yeah.
So if I'm saying, chair, I might go,
Daffy, have a seat in that furniture.
So sometimes I can't think of an ad lib and I can't stop stuttering. So it'll be,
have a seat in that well, I'm lost.
and we have to do another take, but that's the challenge of the character, and that's the fun as the actor, is the improvisation that goes with the written word.
So when you're doing a session, what is it like in the booth? What is that experience when you walk in, put your stuff down, get in front of that mic, you see the director and producer, whoever on the other side? What is that experience like for people who don't know?
Well, and every job is different. So I would say 95 to 98% of our Looney Tunes sessions for television will be at a studio called the Warner Brothers Ranch, which is just down the street from the main Warner Brothers lot. And for people who are fans of classic television, it's got a tiny little back lot where they have the fountain from Friends and the house from Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. So it's right. The recording studio is right next to this little street where classic TV shows were shot. So I'll go into the studio, and the producers there, several producers, several writers, the voice director, whoever might be directing that session, the engineer, the assistants. I've probably received my script a day before so I could prepare. And I would say, for the most part, they'll have as many of the actors in the room as possible. Sometimes schedules don't allow that. In fact, when I did Duck Dodgers, for that show, it was me and Joe Alasky doing Daffy Duck. We never got to work with the other guest stars because we had so much dialogue together. When I did the Looney Tunes show, I was pretty much by myself recording most of my episodes because Jeff Bergman, who's doing Daffy and Bugs, he had so much dialogue to do that they would have him by himself, which is awkward because acting is reacting. You like to have the other actors with you.
Exactly.
For Wabbit, I've had for all and I'm not in every episode. I'm in a good handful of them, but we've had all the cast, or at least most of the cast there. When you do an animated feature, you're usually by yourself, so they're all very, very different. I will tell you this: that when I work with a new producer, I have to ask them not to type my stutter into the script because I can't find the story. If there's a specific word or a joke they really want me to do, just tell me. But if you imagine a couple of sentences where they're typing, C cat. Well, okay, what's the story? What's the cat doing? Where am I going with this? So I have to ask, and they always do this because they think they're helping me. But Matt Craig, who's writing Wabbit, we've come up with a formula in the written word for me to be able to read where he wants his joke, and it took us a few episodes for me to go, oh, I get it, I see what you're doing. But I guess the long-winded answer to your question is every job's different.
Every job is different.
Every job is different.
So, what has been, not necessarily that you've worked on, but just in general, your favorite animated project? Could be a TV show, it could be a short, it could be a feature movie, it could be anything. What has been your favorite animated project that you've seen, not participated in?
Ooh, another good question. Wow. My favorite Disney movie is Beauty and the Beast.
Good one.
My favorite animated shorts, classic, other than Looney Tunes, were the old black and white Fleischer Popeye cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
I love Robot Chicken. It's just so edgy and so well produced and well written. I'm kind of a fan of all kinds of things.
That's a great answer. So what would you say, and I know you're a voice acting teacher as well, what would you say is the number one advice you could give anybody who's doing anything with their voice when it comes to entertainment?
You mean people who want to go into doing cartoons?
Yeah, cartoons or even maybe just voiceover or anything like that.
The most important thing is to become a great actor first before you study voiceover. And most people do it the other way around. They think there's no such thing as a great voice.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a bad voice. There are only good actors and bad actors. And I don't care how many voices you can do. They don't care about voices. They care about characters. And the characters are living. They're breathing. They've got substance. There's something to them other than the sound in front of a microphone. So what I always tell people is study acting, study improv, become the greatest actor you can possibly be, and then study the technique of voiceover. So when you hit the mic in those voiceover classes, you know how to take direction, you know subtext, you know all the things. Even if you're doing commercials, it's acting. But, this is something, when voiceover was just in Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago, all the actors knew this. Now, because of technology, voiceover is available to anybody with, a $100 microphone and GarageBand. So you've got people thinking, well, I can do this because I've got the internet. It's all available to me. Yeah, but if you're not a great actor, I don't really care if you've got a $10,000 studio. A $10,000 studio will not make a lousy actor sound good.
Exactly. So who would you say is your favorite voice actor?
Living or dead?
I'll go living for now, and then we'll ask dead as a follow-up.
I would say right now Frank Welker, living, is the most brilliant voice actor. The man has been at this for almost, 50 years. He's a genius, and he's one of the sweetest, nicest guys on the planet. Dead, certainly Mel Blanc is up there. Paul Frees, Dawes Butler, who was my teacher. He was Yogi Bear.
Dawes Butler.
Yeah, and, June Foray's still with us, but, she's going to be 98 next month, so she's not as active as she used to be, but she was a genius. Yeah, and there are people that do voiceover today that a lot of people wouldn't have a clue who they are because they're not cartoons. There are no credits in promos or commercials, so you have no idea who these people are.
Exactly.
But, there are some just brilliant voice talents that just don't get any recognition because, well,
there's not a credit attached to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and finally, for the fun doubt, I don't know if it was 7 questions, but we'll act like it was.
I think I gave you 22 answers. So.
Yeah. Well, hey, it worked for me.
There you go.
The final question, which I will think of in just a moment, is what has been the most special thing about doing voice acting? The most special thing about it?
the most special thing about, for me, it's voice acting. For anybody else, it's whatever their passion is, being able to do what you love.
But like,
being
what
able
about
to-
voice acting is so special for you?
What's that?
What about voice acting? What makes voice acting? What maybe a moment or something that makes it all worth it?
It's funny. For me, it's what I do. It's what I can do. It's what I love doing. I've done theater. I've done sitcoms. I've hosted game shows, and that's all been fun. But you put a microphone in front of me, and I get a high. And I don't have to get paid. I want to get paid. I'm not putting that out there. But the bottom line is, if you do whatever it is you do, you don't give a damn if you get $1 for it, then you're doing the right thing. That's another thing I always tell my students: you cannot do this for the money, because odds are you're not going to make a dime. When you do make a dime, that's a luxury. If you're doing what you love, that's what it's all about.
And that's definitely what it is. So we have about a minute left. I want to do plugs. What do you have to plug, Bob?
What should you plug? Well, certainly Wabbit, which comes out this fall. I just did another Robot Chicken. I've got some voice work in the movie Minions that's out right now.
Awesome.
I've got a whole bunch of things I can't talk about because we sign non-disclosure agreements with everything that we do.
Of course.
But if people follow me on Twitter at Bob Bergen, you'll probably know a lot of stuff. I've got a page on Facebook called All Things Bob Bergen where I post what's going on, where I'm teaching, all that stuff. So people can keep up with me, or they can ignore the whole thing and just watch soap operas.
Okay. And and you can follow me on Twitter at MKABOBO. Follow the show on Twitter at Midday Show. Follow the show on Facebook, facebook.com/Midday Show. And to poke you again, if you don't mind, could you give us a that's all, folks?
Why, certainly. This was fun, Brandon, and that's all, folks.
Bob Bergen, everybody. We will see you.